When my cousin Chloe came to live in our house, my mother, Linda, seemed to cut her affection in two. Chloe got the bigger piece and I got the smaller one. You still have your father, Mark, Mom would sigh, but Chloe doesn't have anyone. So it felt natural to her to give Chloe more attention. After some time, I decided I didn't really feel like Mom was my mother anymore. Unlike Mom, I couldn't split my feelings like that. I felt I needed to give all my love or none at all, and I started looking for someone else to feel like a mother to me. Mom told me she wouldn't be able to come to my parent teacher meeting. Why not? I asked, nearly crying. Didn't you say you would come? Is saying something the same as a guarantee? She answered. Her meeting is at the very same time as yours. Chloe, Chloe, Chloe. I finally couldn't take it anymore and yelled into the phone. All you ever think about is Chloe. You haven't attended my meeting for 3 years straight, from grade school to middle school, and now I'm almost starting high school. My middle school parent-teacher meetings were all missed by my mom. This time, even my usually calm teacher got stern. Sarah, she said, your mother really has to be here. There are only about 100 days until the high school entrance exams, and your grades have been dropping. I had told Mom about it 5 days before. I believed she might finally think about it seriously. But she chose Chloe again. Sarah, her voice sounded cold and annoyed on the phone, just like always. Chloe has no parents. Isn't it enough that I, her aunt, am giving her attention? Tears were making it hard to speak. Chloe's aunt is my mom, too. Why do I have to lose my own mother? He looked at me curious. I took out a dollar bill for him. I still had $200 in my pocket, saved up by skipping breakfast for months. I had planned to buy study guides. Luckily, I'd asked my mom the day before, so I had some time to figure things out. I decided I would use this money to pay someone to act as my mom for the meeting. The woman I hired to be my mom didn't seem very reliable. She wore a lot of makeup, leaned against the school fence smelling strongly of cheap perfume, and was busy counting money. Even when the principal walked past, she grumbled, "Why is it all small bills? Seriously, what a pain." Of course it was small bills. I had saved it coin by coin. She looked untrustworthy, and I thought about asking for my money back. Maybe I could find another person. But she quickly moved away, just out of my reach, shaking the money. Okay, I understand. Third period tomorrow. I'll meet you then. Class 3, correct? Don't wear that makeup tomorrow, I called after her. And that's $200. Just as I was about to shout again, the principal came back. He saw the money in her hand and asked if I was being forced to give her money. No, no, I answered fast. That's my mom. She was just giving me some change, but I told her I didn't need it. Thankfully, she had run off quickly. Your name is Linda. I made her write it on her notepad. She looked at me with wide eyes and said, I'm Maya. She was dressed the same as the day before, heavy makeup, pale face powder, a brown leather jacket, and that strong smell of cheap perfume. Only when she blinked her fake eyelashes could you see her eyes were actually quite pretty. But her appearance didn't impress me. My mom's name is Linda, so your name is Linda too, I said, copying the business-like way my mom talks when she's shopping. Didn't I tell you not to wear that makeup? She complained under her breath. Then she put on a smile. All right, show me to your classroom, okay? 8th grade, class 3? Is your teacher going to keep me after class to lecture me? Just so you know, the $200 doesn't include being yelled at. You should have mentioned that earlier. I stopped walking in the hallway. That's the price, okay? She said, sounding impatient. Fine, let's just say I'm doing this as a good deed, all right? No need to act so tough, kid. I wasn't trying to be tough, I was just feeling a bit desperate. She didn't realize that $200 was all the money I had. I couldn't use my lunch money for study materials. If she charged extra, I'd have to use my dinner money. But her sudden offer of doing it for free made me feel relieved. At the classroom door, I awkwardly mumbled, Thanks. Yeah, sure, whatever. She waved her hand and started to go inside. Something suddenly occurred to me. Maya, I called her back. Could you possibly do something else for me? Don't ask for too much. But I guess I was determined. The words came out easily. There are these two kids, Tom and Megan. Could you speak to them and to their parents? Tell them you're my mom and you know what they've been doing to me. Say if they bother me again, you won't be nice about it. Maya cursed. I didn't understand why she swore. Does that cost more? How much? I wondered. Before I could finish thinking, she interrupted me. You're being picked on at school? Her expression turned serious. With a big wave of her hand, she walked into the classroom. That service is free. During the meeting time, all the students waited outside. I watched her look through the things in my desk. The teacher looked her way a few times, but Maya just kept turning pages, ignoring everyone. The more she looked through my things, the angrier she seemed to get. I kept wondering if hiring her had been a smart decision. That doubt felt strongest when I saw Sophie from the classroom next door come out. Sophie was the one who gave me the idea of hiring a parent. She had trouble with her schoolwork but was afraid of her strict parents. She paid someone to pretend to be her parent for the meeting and even gave the teacher the fake parent's phone number. She looked through the window at my desk, too. Is that who you hired? Sophie whispered. Look at her. Maybe she's worth $50 or $60 at most. 50 or 60? I just stood there, stunned. Don't tell me you paid her 100. Sophie looked shocked. Even when I answer calls and go to meetings, I only get paid $80 total. Before Maya rushed off to talk to Tom and Megan, I was thinking I should try to get at least $100 back. But when I saw her confronting those kids' parents, I decided 80 would be okay. Especially when Tom's father, who was tall and large, looked ready to argue. Maya quickly silenced him with sharp words, holding one of my books. The classroom was noisy as her loud voice attracted attention. The two parents looked embarrassed and quickly left with their children. Maya came out looking proud. Wait, I said. The teacher will probably want to speak with us soon. Please stay until everything is finished before you leave. I didn't ask for a refund right away. I wasn't dumb. What if she didn't cooperate when the teacher talked to us? The main teacher was talking to other parents. So Maya and I talked in the hallway. She leaned in. Want to hire me to scare them off again? Only $30 each time. I remembered how angry she looked earlier. Tom and Megan were definitely frightened. They wouldn't dare bother me again. She was probably just trying to get more money out of me. I knew that, but to make sure she would act properly later with the teacher, I had to nod yes. See? She snapped her fingers. Good price, right? Soon the teacher came out. Seeing Maya, she frowned a little and asked, Teacher, I'm Linda. Let's go to my office to discuss Sarah. Okay. Grabbing my books and notebooks, I had a feeling about what Maya was planning to talk about with the teacher. I was actually kind of looking forward to it. As Sarah's parent, please remember that a child's learning is not just the school's job. Since Sarah started in our class, I haven't met you once, although I understand you might be busy. She glanced at Maya's clothes. But her grades have dropped significantly from being in the top 10 to outside the top 100. Aren't you worried? The teacher thought Maya was being difficult and was ready to say more. But Maya opened my books. I might not pay close attention to Sarah, but her grades falling has nothing to do with that. The teacher stared at her, probably surprised by such an irresponsible-sounding parent. But Maya tapped a page. Did Sarah tell you? It was the page with the most writing on it in my marked-up books. Every empty space in between the math problems was filled with mean words. Whore! Teacher, did Sarah show you any of this? And she's not falling apart. It's not affecting her schoolwork. How strong do you think she has to be? When I found her and told her I was being called names, being bullied, I showed her these pages. She had seen them, but her reaction was casual. All right. I'll talk to them sometime. It's a busy day. Can't you just try to get along with your classmates? Why do you have to make things so difficult? She was speechless. After a moment, she finally asked, Weren't you just... Clearly, she had noticed Maya confronting the two parents earlier. Maya cut her off. Yes, I just did what any mother would do. But teacher, did you? Did you do what a teacher is supposed to do? We wouldn't need this special meeting. She would have sorted out her feelings herself. maybe even be top of the school again. I wondered if I should ask for some of my money back. Maya had done much better than I expected, but it was costly. $100 would really help me manage my money better. She walked on, talking to herself, not seeing my internal struggle. Your books are ruined. Buy new ones. They won't dare write in those again. What kind of main teacher do you have? Isn't she responsible for anything? She wasn't completely careless. She had helped other kids who were bullied. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone to her in the first place. After I kept asking her, she agreed to help. But in the end, she just mentioned it vaguely during a class meeting. Right after that, Megan cornered me in the bathroom. Little tattletale, learn to tell on people, huh? Why be so unconcerned about me? She didn't like me. She often asked to see my parents. They never showed up. Maybe in her mind, I was a child who had been abandoned, a kid whose parents didn't deal with things, so she didn't have to either. Then Maya suddenly asked, "Your mom has never come to a parent-teacher meeting? Is your mom dead?" Because right then, someone was pulling my sleeve. "Hey, Sarah." Chloe gave me a superior smile. "Who is she anyway? Why are you hanging out with someone dressed so flashy? And why did she say something mean about my aunt?" My cheeks stung from a sudden hard hit. My ears were ringing. My mom, who did physical work, hit me forcefully. It would take time to feel normal after that. "Auntie," Chloe called out softly, "don't try to stop me, Nong Nong." My mom pulled me back, causing me to nearly fall. She looked at the teacher with an apologetic smile and said, "I'm truly sorry, teacher. This child has always been wild. I didn't think she'd be associating with strange people and causing problems like this." "What do you think you're doing?" Maya finally spoke up and tried to step in, but my mom shoved her away before she could get near. Maya, being small, was no match for my mom's loud, angry words. My mom yelled at her, pointing her finger. "I'm dealing with my own daughter. Who are you to get involved? You just wait. I'm calling the police. I'll report you for pretending to be someone else. How much money did you trick Sarah into giving you?" "Where did you get the money?" She turned to me. "Our family struggles to make ends meet, and you're hiring someone to act like your parent? Where did you find extra cash? Are you doing something improper?" I hadn't cried after she hit me, but seeing Chloe standing there, arms crossed, watching me without any sign of caring, that was unbearable. I finally burst into tears, feeling deeply embarrassed. My mom used the cruelest words against me. Meanwhile, the precious child she loved just stood by, acting as if I wasn't even there. They knew Maya was a hired parent. My mom had pulled me into the teacher's office. Maya had even chuckled. "So, your mom isn't dead after all, huh?" That made my mom even angrier. She shouted about calling the police and getting Maya arrested. "Go on," Maya shouted back. "Call them. Show them what kind of mother you really are. You don't even realize your own child is being bullied. And you call yourself a teacher, letting bullying happen right under your nose? It's disgusting. I earned that $200 and I suffered emotional stress. Is it wrong for her daughter not showing up to her class meeting? Is it not okay for her to find someone else to be there?" "Sarah, look who you associate with. How could she speak about your aunt like that?" Chloe yelled again, trying to put the blame back on me. My mom, naturally, fell for it. Does she care? Does she really? This is likely what she wanted to say. My mom suddenly turned and grabbed my hair. "No one bullies others, only you get bullied? Why are you like this?" And she's a year younger. Why isn't she bullied? But you are? Hanging around with these types of people, it's no surprise you're being bullied. Do the teachers owe you something? You don't study well and it's the teacher's fault? Maya interrupted her. "You can find time for your niece's meeting, but not for your own daughter's. Is this niece secretly your child or something?" She reached over to pull my mom's hand away from my hair. "Let her go, you piece of—" I had felt completely helpless when my mom called me useless, demanding to know why only I got bullied. Even the teacher looked at me with pity. But when Maya stepped forward and grabbed at my hair, somehow I found some strength. It felt like all the anger I had kept inside finally had a release. When my mom lifted her hand to slap Maya, I pushed her hard. Even though she was bigger, she stumbled backward. Auntie! Chloe hurried to support her. Enough! I screamed, my scalp hurting. What do you two want? Keep fighting. Keep going until security shows up. Call the police right now. Stunned. It made sense she had seen me in every possible state. Moody, insecure, desperate for a bit of motherly attention. But the loud, argumentative me, that part had vanished when Chloe entered our lives. The room became quiet. My mom stared at me, looking shocked and pained. What did she have to be hurt about? I felt a sharp pain in my chest and yelled through my tears. You asked why they don't bully anyone else, only me. Mom, it's because of you. Do you remember when I asked you to buy me a proper sports bra? Not the cute kind, the supportive kind for activities. The first time I felt really embarrassed about my body was in gym class during a long run. I was in the last group to go. By the time I started, the finish line area was crowded with classmates. I kept my eyes on the finish line and didn't hear the others laughing at me. And then Tom, a boy I hardly knew, came up to me, making exaggerated bouncing motions. Sarah, he said, I'm going to call you Rabbit, the rabbit that bounces when she runs. I didn't understand at first, but then he looked down at my chest and the group burst out laughing. Suddenly, I knew what he meant and pushed him away hard. And the bullying started, all from a simple, mean nickname. The next day, my desk was covered in ugly drawings and words. I stood up in the silent classroom before lessons began, looked around, and saw Megan staring back at me defiantly. Lillian, sitting next to me, tugged my sleeve gently and whispered, Megan wrote that? Everyone saw her, but nobody dares to speak up. I heard she's dating Tom now. She claims you tried to flirt with Tom during the run yesterday. It's not me saying this, but seriously, you should wear a proper bra. The next comment made me blush deeply. I am wearing a bra, I explained. Not a tank top, she whispered even lower. A real bra. Tank tops don't give enough support. Didn't your mom teach you this? I'll try, I mumbled. Honestly, who notices changes in their body faster than the person themselves? I nervously asked my mom if we could buy a padded sports top, but as soon as I brought it up, she frowned and snapped, Money, money, always money. We barely have enough raising 2 children, and you still want to spend? Do you expect us to live on nothing? Tank tops at the cheap market didn't cost much more than that, and when she mentioned 2 children, I hadn't received any allowance besides lunch money for 6 months. Before Chloe arrived, I used to get $10 a week. I couldn't buy much, but at least some spicy snacks or instant noodles were possible. But after Chloe came, it felt like Mom completely forgot about my allowance. She bought Chloe fashionable clothes and enrolled her in various classes. I used to have classes too. But that month, Dad's paycheck was a little short. Sarah, I think you've learned to swim quite well now. How about we stop the lessons for a while? She had said. Nong Nong just moved in with us. Try to understand Mom's situation. It's not easy for her. What I didn't realize then was that break would last for 3 full years. From extra lessons to my own room, to my home life, and now even money for a simple tank top. Mom never took me to buy a new tank top. So, I learned to save my breakfast money to buy one myself. The woman at the market stall wouldn't let me try it on, and I didn't know how to bargain. The top I bought was a bit too small, and when I tried to return it, she refused to exchange it. But it was okay. It was better than my old one. However, after 3 years, the elastic straps loosened, and they couldn't provide support for a growing body. I thought I just needed a new tank top. I didn't realize it was time for a real bra. Mom interrupted. Why didn't you tell me? Trying to deflect blame. Are you blaming me because I didn't notice your body changing? Everyone points fingers at me. But is it simple to look after 2 kids? Is it easy? Mom, I did tell you, but you must have forgotten. I told you I was being bullied at school, made fun of. You said I was being too sensitive. I even asked you to come to school to support me, but you dismissed it. I told you I needed a proper bra, and you accused me of being vain, caring only about looks instead of my studies. You threw $100 at me, saying it was more than enough for 3 bras, and told me to pick them up from the market on my way home from school. But when I went back to my room to get clothes, I accidentally saw Chloe changing. Mom, that well fitting, probably expensive bra Chloe was wearing, who bought it for her? But, Mom, why should I have to knock before entering my own room? You've always told me to give way to Chloe. I gave her you, my room, everything. When will it ever be enough, please? Chloe stood nearby, tears in her eyes. She probably hadn't expected things to turn against her like this. Sarah, you see me this way. Do you ever think about Auntie? Did you notice? I don't even have a mother now. Can't Auntie just treat me a little better? Mom's favoritism was clear, yes, but sometimes Chloe's points seemed reasonable. Chloe lost her parents, and that vulnerability made her seek any sign of warmth. So even when she subtly tried to create distance between my mom and me. But I know what truly matters are the actions of my dad and mom. Sadly, Dad preferred to stay out of it. He sometimes grumbled about Mom spending too much on Chloe, but if Mom ignored him or got upset, he'd just drop it. And my mom? I often wondered if she didn't just prefer Chloe, but actually disliked me. Why else would a mother not favor her own child but prefer someone else's? She shouldn't be the one judging Chloe morally. Honestly, was her preference ever just a little bit? It can only pay for extra classes for one person. She said since my grades were okay, why not let Chloe take them? Because boarding school was cheaper, she wanted to send me there, but Chloe needed security, so Chloe stayed in our house. All these years, 4 parent-teacher meetings annually, she always went to yours. Even though we were at the same school, she never came upstairs to see my teacher. Because she tells your classmates she's your mom, she's afraid I'll expose it or upset you. Just once. If she had defended me even one time. How can someone constantly worried about being bullied by classmates possibly find the energy to feel sorry for her? Everyone has treated you unfairly, haven't they? I knew that regardless of what I said now, she would never admit her mistakes. In 4 years, she never realized. Who would have imagined someone actually defending me? Are you even a mother? The office filled with shocked gasps. My mom, finding a sudden target for her rage, slapped back. Call someone, call someone. The main teacher frantically made a phone call. If security can't manage it, get the gatekeeper. Hurry, they're fighting. The situation was eventually resolved. The headmaster for the 8th grade, Mr. Evans, stepped in to talk with my mom. Normally, he couldn't have stopped Maya, but when he looked at her, he paused. Maya? He called out. Then Maya suddenly became very still and awkward. She lowered her hands from my mom's hair, stood quietly with her eyes down, and didn't speak. Not until the headmaster said her name again. Teacher Peter, she mumbled so quietly I could barely hear. My mom started to say something, acting superior for a moment, but stopped herself when Chloe tugged her sleeve. It made sense. She could have outbursts in front of my main teacher without consequence, but she couldn't risk damaging her image in front of Chloe's headmaster. And just like that, Chloe dared to claim Mom wasn't biased. My mom had intended to call the police. She claimed she was just disciplining her daughter, but Maya had attacked her. You call them? I'll call them too, I declared. I'll report you for child abuse. You're taking their side? My mom cried out. How could you betray me like this? The school authorities didn't allow anyone to call the police. After a lot of discussion back and forth, the issue was quietly smoothed over. Sarah, regardless of the reasons, you lied to the school and your parents. That's a fact. We are recommending a 7-day suspension. Go home and think about your actions, the headmaster stated. My mom led me away. She walked ahead, arm in arm with Chloe, chatting and laughing. As I walked out the door, I looked back. Maya stood next to the headmaster, tears forming in her eyes. Those 7 days were difficult. Throwing tantrums or complaining wasn't a way for me to get my parents' attention. Back at home, it was as if I didn't exist. As soon as Mom entered, she went straight to her bedroom. Naturally, Chloe followed her. Soon, I heard Mom crying inside. How did I end up with a child like this? She sobbed. I moved my things into the study, but before I could even unpack my books, Chloe stormed in. With a serious expression, she said, "Don't stay in here. I'll change the sheets in my room and you can sleep there. You're the one who truly owns this house." Why? My mom hurried over, having heard the noise. Is crying supposed to fix everything? Chloe, don't back down. I still have authority in this house. He arrives quite late, looking worn out, and opened the door, sounding annoyed. Arguing. Always arguing. What are you fighting about now? Can I ever have some peace? Looking detached. Sarah, can you please just be sensible? Every weekend you come home, it's just more conflict. Can't we just have a peaceful time? This is exactly why I don't go to Dad when Mom treats me unfairly. They are similar. One shows clear favoritism, while the other ignores everything as long as things seem calm on the surface. I'm exhausted. Can't they just stop causing me problems? Is either of them slightly better? No, they're equally bad, equally terrible at being parents, equally unfit. What's with that look? My mom snapped again. Fine, fine. You say I'm biased? I'll show you what real bias looks like. Don't talk to her for the next few days. If these 7 days don't teach her a lesson, I'll make sure she learns. But how much worse could it get? Worse than the current situation? What? Stop giving me food? Ignore me completely? Throw me out? Could it possibly be more drastic? I won't accept it anymore. I won't let myself feel this way. I won't let myself feel like a visitor in my own house or beg for my mom's love like a lost puppy. I won't let myself feel like a beggar, hoping she'll attend a parent-teacher meeting only to be rejected outright. What are you doing? My mom shouted. What do you think you're doing? Are you trying to run away or something? Where do you possibly think you're going? His hand felt like steel clamps on my wrist, tightening its grip. Aren't you too old for this childish behavior? Your mom just said a few things. She's your mother. Shut up. My dad interrupted my mom. I saw tears forming in my already puffy eyes. When do you ever step up? Now I can't even say anything to her? You've always forced me to be the bad guy, haven't you? Dad looked down slightly. From now on, you and Chloe will alternate using the spare room. To be fair. Fair? So he understood the concept of fairness. So he knew they were being unfair to me. Dad, do you think I only dislike Mom's favoritism? Do you believe today was solely about her bias and me causing trouble? Can you stop trying to just smooth things over? Why do you suddenly want to handle things fairly now, but not before? Doesn't she? Is she only left with you two, her uncle and aunt? Is that the reason you took her in? Are you properly caring for your own child before rushing off to raise someone else's? Was there only one bedroom available in our house? Isn't the study meant to be a guest room for her? Why allow her to take over my personal space? Stop it! Your mom gives me enough headaches. So now you're angry that I'm making a scene? Why am I causing trouble now because I couldn't before? Now you're upset that I'm forcing you to confront the issue, but you've never attempted to resolve any problems before. You've blamed me, then you blamed your dad, and now Chloe. But when you weren't here, the three of us lived peacefully. I didn't have you blaming me. If you're so dissatisfied with this family, then all right. I pulled my dad's hand off me and ran out of the house. The moment I opened the front door, the cold air hit me. I left without grabbing my scarf or gloves. I had no intention of going back for them. Behind me, my mom yelled, "Go away! If you leave, don't ever bother coming back. You ungrateful child." But gradually, their voices faded away. Even in the city, winter nights feel particularly cold and deserted. The shops nearby were still open. Their lights, whether faint or bright, shone onto the street, but there were hardly any people around. I had nowhere to go. School was closed today, and I couldn't return home even if I wanted to. I was supposed to be reflecting on my behavior for 7 days. Even if I managed to get into the school building, they would likely ask me to leave. I only had $20 with me. Grandma's house was in a different city. Grandma and the rest of the family would just agree with Mom and tell me I was being difficult. Passing shop after shop, all closed for the evening, I walked for a long time before reluctantly going into a 24-hour fast food restaurant. $20 might only buy me a cup of coffee here. But thinking about the next day and the day after that, I braced myself, sat down, and shook my head when the employee asked if I wanted to order anything. After some time, I calmed down, took a book out of my bag, and began working on homework. A long while passed until I heard someone tapping on the table. Looking up, I saw a slightly bent, somewhat rough finger. Following the arm up, I saw a cheerful face and a pair of sparkling eyes. "Well, did you get thrown out?" she asked. Seeing my confused, sleepy expression, she added, "Don't you recognize me? Maya, the parent you hired." Dressed like this, it's no wonder I didn't recognize her. Maya's usual leather jacket must have been put away somewhere. She was wearing the restaurant's work uniform, and without makeup, she looked just like a college student working part-time. No, maybe even younger than a typical college student. I understood now. No wonder she insisted on wearing makeup to my last parent-teacher meeting. Without it, anyone could tell how young she really was. "Planning to stay here all night?" she asked. I didn't say anything. At school, she had defended me, sure, but I still remembered her asking for $200 just to attend my meeting. "I'll let you stay at my place tonight," she offered. "I'm getting off work now. Just need to change. Are you coming with me or not?" Gripping my pencil tightly, she quickly packed her belongings and walked towards the exit. She turned and looked back at me one last time. "Coming. If not, I'm leaving." The other employees glanced in our direction. "And what exactly is it that you do?" My suspicion grew slightly. "Does Teacher Peter know you?" She laughed. "I'm here to snatch kids. Are you coming or not?" And it lacked any heating. But it was neat and organized. Seeing my look, she smiled. "Don't worry about it. If you don't like it, I can take you back to the restaurant." I didn't answer, my eyes falling on a worn-out desk with peeling paint. On the desk lay a single book, an exam preparation guide. "You're a high school student?" I asked, taking orders while still in high school. "I'm getting ready for bed. What about you?" "Okay, get in first and warm up the bed for me." I blinked. I heard her murmur when I was half asleep. "Your old grades." I admit I've slipped, but my previous grades were just okay? I said what I was thinking out loud. "My grades were better," she stated. "Back then, I was ranked first in the entire school, from Class 8, Grade 3. I knew Class 8, Grade 3 was always the top-performing class. No wonder Teacher Peter recognized her. The pictures of the top students would be displayed on the wall, and every teacher would remember them. But seeing the former top student back at school causing trouble, Teacher Peter must have been very disappointed. He might have even scolded her. That would explain why her eyes were red that day. I wanted to ask what she was doing now. She looked like a college student, but what college student studies high school entrance exam materials? "I don't study anymore. I got accepted into high school but didn't attend." "Why didn't you go?" "Because my family prefers boys over girls, so helping you out feels like helping someone similar." "Ah, not exactly. Your family members are bigger jerks than mine." When I thought Maya was just a regular working adult, I felt cautious around her. But realizing she was just a dropout working hard to study on her own, my caution disappeared. "Student." She tousled my hair. "I'm 5 years older than you, an adult, a working adult." She got dressed quickly and told me I could sleep longer. "I'm heading out now. If you leave, make sure to lock the door. I left a key in the drawer." I knew why she was leaving so early. She had mentioned having 3 jobs, one at an electronics factory, another at the restaurant, and doing freelance work like pretending to be a parent or looking after cats. If you have the chance to go to school, who wouldn't want to? Yesterday had been very emotional. I realized I was still quite tired. So, after she quietly shut the door, I fell back into a deep sleep. Honestly, I still had many questions for her. What did Teacher Peter say to her after we left? Was she upset about losing a teacher's respect? Why did it seem like she wasn't trying to rush me out? The sound of knocking woke me up. The knocks on the door were quick and demanding. Open up! Don't act like you're not home. I know you're inside. The shouting from outside was perfectly clear. You ungrateful child. Made your money and forgot all about your parents, huh? Look at this thankless daughter. And now you won't even care for your parents. Who was outside? Were they looking for Maya, trying to get closer to the door to peek out? But while I was getting dressed, I heard a loud banging on the door. Just as the door was broken open, I finally got my shoes on. We stared at each other. He was a large man, likely in his 50s. Behind him stood a woman about the same age, probably his wife. She was the one who had been yelling insults earlier. The last person to enter was a man in his 30s, looking rather frail. The 50-year-old man's eyes showed a trace of guilt. Who are you? Where's Maya? Sorry, did we come to the wrong place? We heard Maya lives here. She's our daughter. There's no Maya here, I stated. You have the wrong address. The man forced an awkward smile. The three of them started to move back. Sorry about the door, meaning they had no intention of paying for the damage. Of course, I wasn't going to ask them to. Given the situation, it was best if they just left quickly. I held my breath, waiting for them to go, but unexpectedly, the 30-year-old man suddenly stepped back inside. Then, he picked up a workbook from the table. Maya, I'm sitting in the police station. Is it a place where my mom, dad, and Chloe, the three of them, eat together under soft lighting in a cozy atmosphere? Where Maya was held for over 10 days, just so she would miss the high school registration deadline? That couple was gently examining their 30-year-old son's arm, blowing on it and asking worriedly if it hurt. I thought, that's a home. That's Maya's brother's home, Chloe's home. But not mine or hers. So when the police officer asked for my name, I refused to give it. Look, kid, the officer seemed a bit frustrated. From what you've described, this isn't primarily your fault. Just provide your name and your parents' contact information, and we'll arrange for someone to pick you up so you can go home. I remained silent. But if you refuse to cooperate, I ended up at the station, but I really didn't want my parents to find out. They would just complain about me being troublesome and act like, see, you claimed we were biased, yet when you're in trouble, who do you depend on? Even though all I did was try to protect Maya's belongings. This morning, once they confirmed this room belonged to Maya, they just began smashing her things. Then they flipped her mattress over. When they found an Anna bank card and I realized they were planning to steal it, I instinctively jumped forward and bit the man's hand. He reflexively threw his arm back. Thief! I yelled while grabbing the card, running outside and shouting to the people nearby. Call the police! It's a break-in and robbery! Everyone stuck to their version of events. I said I thought they were breaking in. They claimed I was the thief. Why else would a stranger be in their daughter's room? I still refused to speak. My silence only broke when Maya arrived. She looked at the family of three, then at me. Would she think I interfered too much? Luckily, she walked over to me. Her name is Sarah, she said. She's my sister, staying temporarily in my rented room. And I'm the one whose rental was broken into. They are my parents and my brother. With that explanation, nobody really needed to remain at the station. That family, as aggressive as they were in the rental room, were just as submissive now. But their meekness only lasted until we stepped outside the police station. Maya's brother blocked our way. Give me money, he demanded, his eyes fixed on my pocket, looking like he wouldn't leave without getting cash. I ignored him and slipped the bank card into Maya's hand. Maya looked at her brother without any expression. It was the busy lunchtime hour, crowded with people. Maya's mother and father exchanged a look. Without any warning, they sat down on the pavement, wailing loudly in a country dialect. Oh my goodness, why did I ever give birth to such an ungrateful child? Look, everyone. Maya's mom! Shouted. My ungrateful daughter, Maya, Maya stated calmly. There's no need to shout. I don't have much money, and I won't give you any. Just as her mother was about to start wailing again. You cry again, Maya warned. And I'll go ruin my brother's matchmaking dates, crying about how my mom tricks people. Her tears always get sympathy. Believe me, no decent girl would want to marry into our family. In our village, everyone knows if you have a daughter, you're expected to support the entire family. I dare you. Anyone in town will tell you the same. Maya's mother stood up, pointing angrily. I saw you studying. If you don't give me money, I'll find you during your college entrance exams, she threatened, expecting Maya to give in. Go right ahead, Maya responded. I'm perfectly fine with that. Anyway, studying for 2 years gives me better odds than trying to cram everything in one. Mom, can't my brother afford that? I heard men can still have children after 40. I don't care. I won't be getting married anyway. Back at Maya's rental room, I wanted to help her repair the door, but she shook her head and waved me away. Get up on the bed. Go on, go. It's freezing. I'll have to buy you some ointment for that bite, won't I? Obediently climbing onto the bed. At the doorway, Maya, worried about getting her coat dirty, was only wearing a thin sweater. She shivered as she worked on putting the hinge back together. Luckily, it can be fixed, she said. Otherwise, the landlord would charge me more money. The landlord is unfair? Sure, but this place is the cheapest one available. When I was bored, I helped Maya check the answers on the practice sheets she had finished. The number of mistakes was quite high, huh? Maya managed to fix the door before it got dark. While lying in bed, she whispered, Hey, thanks. Thank me, but still call me hey? I have 40,000 yuan in my bank account, she said. It's all my savings from working. It's for college tuition. Sarah, she seemed to understand what I was planning to do. I didn't have a choice back then. You can hate your mom or dad, but don't cut off contact now. And definitely don't drop out of school. Life after dropping out is really hard. 7 days passed quickly. On the 7th day, Maya went to work and I went back to school. She pushed 200 yuan into my hand. It was the same small bills I had given her before. Scram, she said. Don't come back here. I looked at the money in my hand. Don't want it? If you don't want it, give it back, she replied. I took it. I quickly put the money into my pocket. I'm leaving now. I'll come visit you on the weekend. Get lost, she said. Don't come back. Much, much later, Maya told me she had prepared herself to never see me again. After all, I was a smart kid. If she advised me to go home and apologize to my parents, I would likely do it. So it was surprising for her when I showed up again so soon. The moment I reached the school gate, my parents rushed out. Where have you been? My mom pushed me hard, then pulled me into a hug. Sarah, you heartless child. Are you too grown up to be scolded or hit now? Where have you been? It was the first time Dad had ever shown up at my school. He lowered his head, trying to avoid the curious looks from my classmates. All right, I used to wonder, with Chloe around, Mom's favoritism, and Dad's indifference. How could I ever make them truly care about me? At first, I hadn't completely lost out to Chloe. The day Chloe arrived, I had a slight cold. I lay on my newly arranged bed, feeling miserable. Mom, I want to sleep in my own bed. I'm not used to this one. Mom, I feel really sick. Mom. I was calling for her, crying quietly. I had a temperature of 100.4 degree F, 38 degree C. Not extremely high, but Mom was worried. Dad went to pick up Chloe. She stayed by my bedside the whole time, never leaving. But later, she started favoring Chloe more and more. Chloe would cry if she saw my favorite cola chicken wings, saying her own mother used to make them too. To avoid reminding Chloe of her deceased mother, mine stopped preparing cola chicken wings for me. If Chloe saw Mom hugging me tightly, she would become silent. Eventually, Mom rarely showed me affection when Chloe was around. I often wondered, should I hurt myself too? Should I try different tactics like Chloe to capture Mom's attention? Would that make her care about me again? One night, I took a long shower with cold water. I developed a high fever, and Mom was concerned, but the very next day, Chloe got injured too. Mom took her to the hospital, and I thought, why? Why do I have to fight so desperately for the motherly love that should rightfully be mine? Now, long after I stopped intentionally hurting myself, I finally understand. That's just how things are. The old saying holds true: the squeaky wheel gets the grease, or the crying child gets the milk. Unfortunately, I'm not a child anymore, and I don't need that milk. Before, any small sign of affection from her would make me forget everything bad that had happened, but today I felt completely unaffected. Mom said she called the police. She said she couldn't see any signs of me wandering the streets. I must have had somewhere to stay those 7 days. She wanted to call the police again and find out who had kidnapped me. "You're only saying that because you guessed correctly," I asked her. Dad told her to stop. It was embarrassing. But she ignored him and dragged me to my grade 8 teacher, Teacher Peter. She didn't care about appearances anymore. She asked Teacher Peter for Maya's contact information. When Maya showed up, she looked at me helplessly. "You little troublemaker, you certainly know how to cause problems." I felt embarrassed. Teacher Peter assured my mom that Maya was a good person and had no intention of kidnapping me. When Mom saw Maya, she paused, then said, "A good kid. Good kids don't wear makeup like that." "Speak up. Was little Sarah led astray by you?" "My kid?" I interrupted. "I'm your kid. What do you mean she kidnapped me? There's a limit to making false accusations, right?" I said, "Mom, I do want to go home, but is there actually space for me there?" "What do you mean there's no space for you?" "I thought you only had one daughter," I asked. "Isn't there already a daughter living in your house?" "Mom, it's class time. Do you realize how many people will overhear with your loud voice? Do you know that after you leave the school, classmates might gossip that I became bad from hanging out with people outside? Aren't you worried I'll continue being bullied?" Mom's face turned bright red. "You learn from others but won't let me discuss it, huh?" This time, I didn't wait for Maya to speak. Maybe my mom was right. I did learn something from Maya, but I learned how to handle her. "Since you've done it, don't be afraid to talk about it," I said. "Mom, let's go talk outside Chloe's classroom. It's crowded there. We can discuss how Chloe's mom attends every school event, but she's actually her aunt. Her aunt has a daughter in 8th grade upstairs, but she's never attended a single event for her own child. We can talk about how Chloe gets all kinds of expensive tutoring every year while Sarah has to save up just for a set of study materials during her boarding school weekends. Let's talk about how by 6th grade, Chloe was already wearing pricey, well-fitting underwear, but Sarah was in 7th or 8th grade and still being called Rabbit. Mom, didn't you think all of this was perfectly normal back then? Let me ask you, would you dare say these things at the door of Chloe's classroom?" "You!" Mom was furious. "Mad at you. Mom, let's go and say it." Maya's parents and brother were a family unit, and to manage them, they needed something valuable to lose. Maya's brother was like that delicate vase you couldn't afford to break. It's the same situation with my parents and Chloe. "You," Dad pulled Mom back. "Is this how you treat Sarah? Stop pretending, Dad. You saw how Mom treated me. You weren't blind, were you? From now on, don't put my living expense money into Mom's account. Just give the money directly to me," I told my dad. "If you don't, I'll come to your workplace and collect it. After all, everyone has a weakness, right?" My parents left, so did Maya. I told her I'd find her when I had free time. "Why look for me?" she mumbled. "Aren't all your issues resolved?" My main teacher said I was quite something. It was the first time I'd heard a teacher curse at me. She said class 8 of the 3rd year was too small for someone like me. I simply moved my desk and chair out into the hallway. As I moved them, Megan and Tom glanced at me nervously. When they saw me looking back, they quickly looked away. I guess news of my craziness had spread among my classmates. I went from classroom to classroom, asking if any class would accept me. If no one agreed, I'd just ask again. Why not? The school wasn't going to expel me. When you stop caring about consequences, even the air feels lighter. Finally, it was the grade head, Teacher Peter, who found a classroom for me. Thanks to your good grades, he said. I knew he had once genuinely admired Maya as a student. When Maya couldn't attend high school despite her excellent exam scores, it remained a source of regret for him. There are all kinds of parents, he told me, but no matter your family situation, never give up on yourself. Of course, I replied. Dad, following my instructions, began giving me the money directly each month. Funnily enough, I lived more comfortably than before. I heard that Mom continued signing Chloe up for tutoring and extracurricular activities, but none of that concerned me anymore. There was just one instance when my dad was late giving me the money. I went to find him at his office. He came downstairs and took me to the nearby KFC, ordering a whole family meal bucket for me. Sarah, he said, if I stop giving you money, would you never contact us again? You know, I looked at the bucket. Dad, I haven't had a family bucket in a very long time. When I was young, you said it wasn't healthy and wouldn't let me eat it, promising I could eat as much as I wanted when I grew up. I loved family buckets back then. I couldn't wait to grow up. If I wanted it too much, you'd occasionally allow me some, maybe once every 6 months or so. Then Chloe arrived. With her piano and dance lessons, she had to watch her weight, so no fried food. Mom said if I ate it, Chloe would want some too. So Mom stopped letting me have any. Let's see, how many years has it been since Chloe joined our family? Why didn't you tell me? Dad asked again. Think about it, Dad. Did I really never mention any of this to you? He paused, realizing he had ignored too many of my words over the years. I never told you, I said with a slightly bitter smile. In life, there are too many things like this. For such a minor issue, I didn't feel it was necessary to tell you. I saw Dad's eyes getting red. Dad, I said, now that I'm grown up, can I have all the family buckets I want? He ordered several more, far more than I could possibly eat. I suddenly understood that making them feel remorse wasn't that difficult. No, it wasn't remorse, it was regret. When they realized they might lose me completely, they started to feel regret. At least, Dad regretted it. I took this month's living expenses from Dad. But Dad, I stopped liking family buckets a long time ago. On weekends, I often visited Maya. You are so annoying, sis, she sighed. I have to work while you get to relax. Can I join you at work? I asked. Take me with you. Who would dare hire you? You're under 18. But sometimes she would take me with her when she worked at the tea shop. I'd sit in a corner, reading quietly. When she handed out flyers, I'd grab a pile and hurry to distribute them at the next street corner. Can't you just concentrate on your studies? She scolded gently. Aren't your exams coming up in June? Maya had her university entrance exams. I was on break. She didn't let me buy her flowers, so I brought a bottle of water and waited outside her examination center. It turned out everyone was giving out bottled water. I watched her complete one exam after another. When they were all finished, I finally asked her, "How did you do?" "I'm aiming for the top university," she replied. "Gotta set a good example for you." So I asked softly, "Can you come cheer for me during my exams?" Before my exams, Dad visited my school again to bring me the study materials I needed. "Thanks," I said. "Do you have your exam room assignment confirmed?" Dad asked. "How about your mom and I take you there tomorrow?" "No need," I replied. "Any other time is fine, but let's not complicate things on my exam day tomorrow, okay?" After finishing my first exam, I saw Maya right away. After the very last test, she stood outside holding the largest bouquet of flowers. Maya had skipped work just to be there for me. "No way I'd work," she declared. "Your little exam is more important than money any day." That year, both Maya and I got into the universities we wanted. Maya moved to another city. Before she left, she straightened my collar and said, "Little girl, I'm going to soar now. You work hard to fly even higher, too." In high school, I barely had time to think about that family of 3. It wasn't until some middle school friends who knew about the past casually mentioned it to me. They said Chloe's extra classes weren't renewed. She complained to her friends saying, "My parents are saving money for my college, so they've reduced my expenses." In the last month before my own college entrance exams, I went to get my allowance from Dad and told him, "You don't need to give me pocket money anymore." He looked a bit sad. 3 years later, his hair was noticeably grayer. "I've turned 18, I said. "You no longer have a legal obligation to support me. After the exams, I'll apply for scholarships and find part-time work. You two aren't near retirement age yet, so don't expect support from me, okay?" I added, "The retirement support will be split between Chloe and me. I'm not like you guys. I'm extremely fair." The day before the college entrance exam, Maya called, insisting on seeing a picture of my admission ticket. "Why?" I asked. "You're not planning to come watch me take the test, are you?" "Are you crazy?" She typed back. "Are you out of your mind? I have to work, you know. Earn money, too. Then video call me." She didn't reply after that. When I finished my first exam, I saw her outside the test center dressed in a traditional Chinese dress. Cheongsam Qipao. Among all the mothers wearing similar dresses, she stood out looking so young and beautiful. "Didn't you say you wouldn't come? Come on, why are you crying?" She wiped my tears away. "You have another exam this afternoon. If I knew you'd cry, I would have waited until the last one to surprise you." She was there after the last exam too, wearing a light blue Tsi Pao, standing gracefully. A classmate's mother asked her, "Sarah's sister? Oh, your Sarah has such excellent grades. She's definitely going to a top university like Tsinghua or Peking, right?" "She's not my sister," I chimed in. "She's my mom." 3 years later, Maya got married. She didn't invite her parents. Her groom asked if she wanted me to be her bridesmaid. Maya said no. "I want her sitting with my family, giving a speech." At the wedding rehearsal, I practiced a speech. "Thanks for that day when we first met, Maya. A couple $100 and you became my pretend mom." "How's that, Maya?" "Perfect," Maya said. "You, who were once stuck with no way out, broke free from the house of Anna. I, once ignored, received all the affection. We're both going to be happy, all right?" Epilogue. Sarah got married at 25. The wedding was held in Los Angeles. From her home country, Sarah only told a few high school friends. Somehow, her parents still discovered the news. That day, as Sarah watched the crew set up the wedding venue, her phone suddenly rang. She glanced at the caller ID, a number she occasionally saw during holidays or birthdays. Sarah rarely answered, and even when she did, she wouldn't say much, just remained silent until they hung up. This time was no different. But from the other end came a familiar, though slightly older voice. It was her mom. "Sarah," she said over the phone, "we've arrived in Los Angeles. We're at the airport now and aren't sure how to get to your location." Sarah thought for a moment and then called her fiancé, David. "Are you free right now? Can you pick up a couple of people for me?" Maya had no reaction to Sarah's parents coming, just cursed whoever had leaked the information. Maya's husband, on the other hand, seemed relieved. "Good thing your parents are here. I'd hate for Olivia to be grown and ready for marriage before I've properly let go of her." Maya was so annoyed she stomped on his foot. "Can you please not be such a know-it-all?" Olivia, Maya's daughter, was the flower girl at Sarah's wedding. Sarah wanted to laugh but managed to hold it in. David took the parents to a coffee shop. It was a place Sarah had arranged. She didn't want them at the wedding ceremony or visiting the venue beforehand. After David arrived, Sarah quickly handed over the wedding planning tasks to Maya and went to the coffee shop. Before leaving, Maya worried Sarah might get hit again. Sarah waved it off, saying, "She's too old now to have such a bad temper. Besides, David will be there, right?" "She is quite old." When Sarah pushed open the cafe door, she saw the three of them sitting together in a corner. They were about to get married, yet this was David's first time meeting her parents. Even knowing about Sarah's difficult relationship with them, David was clearly nervous, sitting stiffly like a schoolboy. Sitting beside him, Sarah asked bluntly, "Why did you come?" They hadn't seen each other in years. The last time was when Sarah graduated from college. She had some free time and visited her grandmother. The old lady, aware of their family problems, insisted on calling her parents. But when they arrived, not a single word was exchanged. Sarah just ate a meal and left quickly. Now they looked the same, like indistinct faces from her past, the kind you wouldn't turn to for help even in difficult times. We just wanted to see you, Mark spoke up. It was odd. Her dad had initially ignored the favoritism in their home, but after Sarah fell out with Linda, he tried to act as a peacemaker between them. He assumed Sarah would still communicate with him after ignoring Linda, never considering why once Sarah stopped accepting allowances, she ignored him too. He was just being overly sentimental. Sarah, I missed your teenage years, but I can't miss your wedding. If no one had told us you were getting married tomorrow, who would walk you down the aisle? Who would occupy the parents' seats? They talked as if Sarah couldn't possibly get married without them. Sarah gave a cold laugh, ignored their comments, and asked, "It's a long journey from home to Los Angeles. Are you and Chloe okay being here by yourselves?" The name Chloe had been a sensitive topic for years. Sarah knew why she had cut ties with them. They knew too. So, during today's meeting, they hadn't mentioned Chloe at all. But Sarah didn't hesitate to bring her up. Sarah was resolved to rip off that old bandage. "You're not my parents. You're Chloe's parents. If you want to attend a wedding, feel free to go to Chloe's." Sarah wasn't known for showing mercy. "I didn't have you there for my high school entrance exam or my college entrance exam," she continued. "You don't honestly think I'd suddenly need you at my wedding, do you?" Sarah had distanced herself from her parents, but that didn't mean she lost contact with everyone else. Family members, old classmates, even teachers. They all advised her to just let it go. But how can someone simply let go of something like that? Why should she? Mark clearly misunderstood. "Chloe, we haven't been in contact with Chloe for ages. Sarah, when we realized you were bothered by Chloe's presence, we thought about sending her to live with her grandmother. But at that time, Chloe was just starting high school, a crucial period for her studies." Crucial time for studies? Sarah wanted to laugh. She wanted to say it was a critical time for her studies too. He continued, "But we stopped all those extra classes for Chloe. Sarah, we were ready to give you all our love again back then." But is love that arrives too late still considered love? Does love that she has already moved beyond still matter? Sarah was tired of it and ready to leave. "I'll book you 2 return tickets, but that's all. I won't spend another cent on you. Go back," Sarah stated firmly. "Sarah, I was sick," Linda suddenly said. Sarah paused her movement. Linda remembered how little Sarah used to be such a thoughtful child. One year, when Linda had the flu, Sarah didn't even go to school. Instead, she stayed by her side, bringing her water and checking her forehead, asking if she felt unwell. But that was when Sarah was very, very young. Indeed, it was. "Let Chloe take care of you," Sarah said. "If you're low on money, then come to me. You raised her until she was 18. She should be taking care of you now." Sarah wouldn't let them stay, even if they mentioned it was about the wedding gift. No chance. "I booked your flight ticket for today." Sarah rubbed her forehead. "Please stop bothering me. I'm getting married tomorrow. I don't want to think about you and feel upset." David had one admirable quality. He didn't interfere much in Sarah's choices. When Sarah stood up, he did too. "Sarah," Mark called out to her. "Maybe David can drive you to the airport right now?" "Oh, and the coffee is on me," she reminded them. "Drink up and head home." David didn't say much at the coffee shop, but on the drive back he spoke up. "They kept asking how you're doing." Sarah remained silent. "No problem," he said softly, holding her hand. "I'll support you, no matter what." Only then did Sarah realize her hand was trembling slightly. Faced with those two, she had maintained her composure, but now she recognized the storm of resentment brewing inside her. People always say time heals all wounds or dissolves grudges. How does one dissolve such deep anger and refusal to accept the past? With everything busy for the wedding on the big day, Sarah received no communication from her parents. As she made her entrance, guests who hadn't attended the rehearsal asked who would walk her down the aisle, who would hand her over to the groom. I don't need anyone, Sarah replied. I can do it myself. The wedding was flawless. While sorting through the gifts, David found a card. Who sent a bank card? David was curious. Sarah tucked it away. She knew exactly who sent it, and that they hadn't actually left after all. As she walked down the aisle, flower petals scattering at her feet and streamers flying, two pairs of eyes watched her silently from afar. But that was no longer her concern. After the wedding, Sarah went back to her hometown to handle some paperwork. She had her own household registration documents, so she didn't need to go to her parents' house itself and avoided seeing them. Sarah checked the bank card at an ATM. The PIN was her birth date, an easy guess. It contained a full $20,000. $20,000. Sarah remembered Mark had lost his job around the time she graduated high school. 20,000 wouldn't be a small sum for them. But Sarah thought about it and decided not to return the card. They were right. Up until 6th grade, they hadn't treated her poorly. Sarah had it all planned out. She would deposit $1,000 a month until they reached the age of 60. Then she'd use that accumulated money to hire a caregiver for them. Maya and Sarah traveled back together. On the way, Maya asked Sarah if she wanted to talk about their younger days. Sarah shook her head. There wasn't much worth remembering from her youth. So, after being back for 3 days, she ended up just relaxing in her hotel room for 2 of them. On the last day, on the way to the train station, Sarah suddenly realized she forgot to bring water. She pulled the car over to buy a bottle from a small roadside shop. A group of men were sitting outside, shirtless, playing cards. One of them noticed Sarah walking towards the shop and yelled out, Chloe, where have you been? We have a customer." Sarah paused for a moment, not really wanting to go inside, but there wasn't another shop nearby, so she went in anyway. Inside, she saw a woman in her early 30s, slightly overweight, rushing out with a baby in her arms. She was pulling her shirt down as she walked, likely having just nursed the baby, and her shirt barely covered her stomach. Sarah glanced quickly at the woman's swollen finger joints and the fine lines around her eyes. Not Chloe, she thought. Sarah grabbed 4 bottles of Coke from the shelf and went to the counter to pay. But then the woman suddenly called out, Sarah, is that really you?" "Chloe." Sarah tried to find traces of the girl she once knew in the woman's features. "How did you end up like this?" Chloe should only be 24 now, but she looked nothing like a young woman in her 20s. Sarah remembered Chloe in middle school, tall and slender due to her dance classes, like a proud swan. She had taken both dance and piano lessons and cherished her delicate hands and slim figure more than anything. No wonder Sarah didn't recognize her at first glance. During a chat, Chloe asked, "It seemed like everyone believed that after some time had passed, she should have learned to move on, as if the past would simply fade away." Nobody remembered that snowy night when she had stormed out of the house, or how lonely she felt surrounded by all the bright city lights. Nobody remembered her running towards the finish line, only to be met with ridicule from her entire class. Chloe, however, seemed determined to stop her, holding a baby in one arm while gently tugging on Sarah's sleeve with the other. Just one hand, but Sarah felt it weighing down like 1,000 pounds. The men playing cards outside were already looking their way. Chloe's voice, rough and low, said, "We're adults now, Chloe. Our children will soon be the age we were back then. Is there really anything we can't move past?" Yes, there was, Chloe thought to herself. I'll never get over it for the rest of my life. She couldn't get past the 2 people she was most closely related to, let alone someone like Chloe. But Chloe seemed eager to talk, going on and on about her life after Sarah left home. Sarah, on the other hand, was absently staring at the Coke bottle in her hand. She was so bored she actually started reading the list of ingredients. Sarah wanted to just leave, but seeing those rough-looking men at the door, she didn't want Chloe to yell after her. With her husband looking so fierce, who knew if it might lead to a fight? Sarah decided she'd wait for David and Maya to notice she hadn't come back and come find her. And Chloe's first sentence in all her stories was, "Sarah, my life is ruined." Sarah shuddered instinctively. Chloe's story went in one ear and out the other. Sarah scanned the bottles and snacks on the shelves, occasionally picking up a bag to read the label. It turned out Chloe wasn't just reminiscing. Just as Sarah held resentment against her, Chloe also harbored bitterness towards Sarah. How amusing. What did she possibly have to resent about Sarah? Sarah, she said, you won the day you ran away from home. I knew right then you had won. I used to wonder why I wasn't my aunt's biological daughter. She clearly loved me, and I liked her so much too. At first, I didn't mean to take away the motherly love that belonged to you. You said I was pretending to be pitiful, but what other option did I have? I was living in someone else's house, only able to hope for a little bit of their sympathy. Sarah suddenly recalled the afternoon she had asked Maya to come act as her parent for the meeting. That afternoon, Chloe had stood there, watching Sarah reveal her difficult past. How similar it felt to today, only this time it was Chloe sharing her side. I don't understand why, no matter how hard I tried to win over your parents, their hearts always seemed to be with you. Chloe's voice became more agitated. Sarah tried hard to remember when her parents were ever solely focused on her. You know, after you left the house, Aunt Linda stopped caring about me as much. Uncle Mark and Aunt Linda started arguing constantly. We had a perfectly fine home, but because of you, it became miserable. Aunt Linda initially defended me, but 3 days after you ran away, she cleaned out the study and told me to move out and live there. She said it was your room, and you would need it when you returned. 5 days after you left, when they couldn't find you anywhere, they decided to wait for you outside our school. The school security wouldn't let them in, so they waited at the main gate. My classmates saw Aunt Linda and Uncle Mark and asked me why my parents were waiting at the school gate without acknowledging me. Do you have any idea how I survived those days? Sarah didn't know about Chloe's difficulties, but remembered her own. During those days, she was studying in Maya's small room. When the cold made her hands numb, she hid them under the blanket, only taking them out for 10 minutes of homework before quickly tucking them back in. On the 8th day after you disappeared, you finally showed up at the school gate. I thought things would go back to normal, that Aunt Linda and Uncle Mark would return to their usual selves. But Sarah knew what happened next. She refused to go home with Linda and the others, determined instead to demand financial support from them. Sarah asked for a significant amount of money. Almost every time Mark received his salary, Sarah would take a portion of it. Because of that, Mark ended up giving less money to Linda and spending less on Chloe. Sarah had heard that Mark eventually stopped paying for Chloe's art classes. Chloe no longer took piano or dance lessons. From what Sarah heard, Chloe complained about it to her classmates. Sarah hadn't expected Chloe to hold on to this much resentment. Chloe said, "They claimed they were saving for your college tuition, but did they ever consider me? I'm not as academically gifted as you. If I wanted to get into a good high school or college, I needed to apply as a specialty student focusing on arts. But they cut off my art classes in junior high. Do they understand what that decision meant? If they weren't planning to properly care for me, why did they bother adopting me in the first place? Why give me everything only to take it all away?" "What do you mean, give an inch, take a mile?" Sarah asked. "So they didn't just cut your art classes, but also effectively blocked your educational path?" Chloe fell silent. Sarah knew her parents weren't the best. Not to her, nor to Chloe. But she felt Chloe had no right to complain. Her parents had treated Chloe better than their own daughter. They didn't provide Sarah with nearly as many opportunities, so why should they continue funding Chloe's artistic pursuits? "Are you their biological daughter? Did you save their lives?" Sarah retorted. "Sarah!" Chloe shouted in frustration. Her husband, who was playing cards outside, glanced inside to see what the commotion was about before turning back to his game. Sarah was bored, taking photos of the items on the shelves. "If they weren't going to be responsible for me, why did they adopt me?" Chloe continued. "After you left, everything revolved around you. I compromised so much, but they got angry when my grades dropped. They said if it were you, you would have just studied harder. Why should I constantly be compared to you? You, someone they don't even particularly like." Chloe wanted to provoke some anger or sadness in Sarah, but Sarah just viewed her as a somewhat pathetic figure now. I kind of already know what you've been through, Sarah said calmly. Sure, Sarah cut ties with her parents, but not entirely with her past friends and classmates. People knew her story and shared updates with her. Sarah hadn't performed well on her high school entrance exam. Maybe Chloe was affected by this too, barely managing to get into a vocational school. Chloe even asked their mom to enroll her in dance or piano classes again, hoping to transfer to a college preparatory track. But Mark was on the verge of losing his job and money was tight. Exam preparation for arts programs is significantly more expensive than standard academic tutoring anyway. When Sarah went to collect money, her dad was always sighing. Chloe placed all her hopes on their mom, but before any decisions could be made, Chloe started dating. This is why people say children need abundant love. If you don't provide enough, don't be surprised when they seek it elsewhere. This was true for Sarah, and it was true for Chloe. That boyfriend led Chloe into all sorts of reckless behavior, street racing at night, hanging out in internet cafes, meeting various unsavory people. Chloe's perspective was warped. She claimed that since Sarah left, their parents only focused on reconciling with Sarah. But according to Sarah's sources, their parents actually made significant efforts to address Chloe's relationship problems. Sarah heard they met with Chloe's teachers several times to discuss the situation. She didn't know the specifics, but it couldn't have been as dramatic as her own story. Despite their efforts, Chloe had a massive argument with them. She felt they were irresponsible, especially after her mom refused to enroll her in classes. So, she and her boyfriend decided she would drop out of school and work at an electronics factory for a year. She wanted to earn money and pursue her own dreams. Sarah thought, if only Maya had heard about this, she would have laughed out loud. Their parents eventually felt deeply disappointed. They tried to reach out to Chloe, hoping to salvage the situation. But whether it was Sarah's departure or simply losing faith in them, Chloe was done. She left to work in the South, but dreams are grand. Reality often isn't. Working, she thought she'd save up for her dreams. Once she entered the real world, she discovered how quickly dreams can vanish. Many people think they'll earn money first and then chase their dreams, but not everyone possesses Maya's resilience. At 18, their parents gave up on Chloe and sent her back to live with her grandmother. But by then, Chloe didn't care about being abandoned by them. She dropped out of high school, worked in a factory for a year, and at 19, moved in with her then boyfriend. Just like Sarah never went back, Chloe never did either. The following year, her boyfriend went away for work. She focused on her studies for a while, but halfway through, needing more money, she packed up and left to work again. In her third year away, she became pregnant. They quickly got married. Chloe wanted their parents to attend as her family representatives, but they only showed up as distant relatives. There were some positive outcomes, Sarah commented dryly. You chose someone yourself, and you're still together. While saying this, Sarah glanced at the man playing mahjong outside. Chloe let out a sound that was half cry, half laugh. She had fought for a different path at one point. Whether she's happy now or not, only she truly knows. Sarah thought out of all of them, perhaps none got what they genuinely desired. She spent her childhood futilely chasing her parents' love. Parents invest so much effort in raising their children, yet some never appreciate it. And the one who receives all the love, once that love is withdrawn, ends up living a difficult life. Sarah looked at the approaching figures of Maya and her husband, along with her own husband. As expected, they came to find her when she was taking too long. Thankfully, she got out just in time. Sarah walked out to meet the three of them, but Chloe even followed her to the door. Your mom got sick a year ago. I took care of her. But all she did was talk about you. She was so afraid that after she died, I'd fight you over the inheritance. She even wrote a will stating everything goes to you. I had just had my second child then. I desperately needed money. I was so stressed I couldn't sleep at night. But them? They saved up money for your wedding dowry, not caring about me at all, and you? Where were you then? She never cared about me. The man playing poker finally seemed affected. He stood up and asked Chloe, Who's that? Our sister. But Sarah didn't stop walking. Even after hearing about her mom's illness, she kept going. Even after hearing all the inheritance was intended for her, she didn't stop. She just kept walking towards her real family. They got into the car, shut the door, and drove away. Nobody spoke on the drive until Maya broke the silence. Sarah, was that Chloe? Sarah nodded. Maya had clearly heard what Chloe said. After a pause, she remarked, maybe Sarah's parents really do realize they were wrong. Wherever the money goes, that's where the love is. Sarah closed her eyes. You don't understand either. It's not that they realize they were wrong. They're just old now, afraid I'll treat them the way they treated me. They're more scared of me abandoning them, leaving them without support in their old age. If they could have another child, and if Chloe were obedient and kind, they'd have no regrets. As she spoke, Sarah lowered her head and started fiddling with her phone. Maya asked what she was doing. Looking up the number for the Consumer Protection Agency, I saw 2 bags of expired snacks on Chloe's shelves. Thinking of reporting it. David was shocked. Really? She's already having such a tough time. But Sarah thought, what does her tough time have to do with me? Did I cause her life to be this way? Did I give her this life? She dialed the agency number. Yeah, I just bought items from that small store. I want to report it. Asking for compensation? Yes. I heard it's triple the amount, or at least 1,000 yuan. So let's make it 1,000. After they promised a thorough investigation, Sarah hung up. We probably won't ever meet again, but in this one encounter, I don't mind adding insult to injury.